Hello, everyone, and welcome to Think Yourself Healthy podcast. I'm your host, Heather Duranja. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. On today's episode of Think Yourself Healthy, I have special guest, Ben Salem. Ben is the creator of WaveBlock, which was created during the onset of COVID when he noticed that his children were on Zoom calls and wearing their Apple earbuds for an alarming amount of time. After doing a substantial amount of research, he discovered that these earbuds communicate between the brain and emit harmful EMF radiation, which can negatively affect children even more than adults. Concerned, he created a product to place on the earbuds to deflect the EMFs from the brain. WaveBlock has been laboratory tested in government laboratories and has shown outstanding results. WaveBlock has recently extended their brand to not only earbud protection, but also cell phone protection. Ben, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to pick your brain today and find out all about these amazing products that you have created and the why behind them. So thanks for being with us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's really fun to see the product really start to have its own legs. It's kind of interesting because we're seeing all of these reviews come in constantly, and the reviews are all starting to sound the same. I no longer have headaches. I no longer have like a fuzzy brain. You keep hearing the same, like, it's almost like it's copy paste, and we get emails and reviews, and we never thought this was going to happen because I didn't have issues with like a foggy brain or headaches. I didn't even know that was a problem. So to see this feedback is just fascinating. It really is, you know?
Well, it's pretty surprising to see that you were able to take this idea and bring it to market in less than 2 years, especially during a pandemic. And more importantly, while we're having like a total supply chain issue. So tell me how you did this.
Yeah, it kind of happened by accident. I learned a long time ago listening to a Tim Ferriss podcast.
Okay.
It wasn't even a podcast back then. I think it was like a YouTube interview. I think podcasts didn't even exist like 10, 12 years ago. But I remember listening to him, and he was basically saying, hey, when I have my cell phone in my pocket, my sperm count decreased like almost 80% or 85%, something around there. And that stuck in my head, many years ago. And then I learned that in other countries, they've banned Wi-Fi from nurseries and kindergartens. So all these things were always in the back of my mind. And then when we had our third child, and I was a little bit more knowledgeable about EMF, I thought, well, how do I block the radiation from entering his crib? So I created my own like baby crib liner. It was ugly. It was breathable, which was nice because it was safe, but it was made out of like polyester and silver material that basically was blocking the radiation. And that a couple of years later, COVID's here, and now my kids are on like Zoom classes, and it started to get my mind going on, hey, what's inside these earbuds? And I have nothing else to do, by the way, because I'm a real estate broker and I can't sell real estate during COVID. So my mind's just going, and I'm like, doing little science projects at home. And it was really fascinating to learn that in each earbud, you have like a little wireless modem, and they talk to each other through your skull. So they shoot radiation back and forth. And it's about 2.4 gigahertz in each ear.
Wow.
And it's constantly waiting for you to say, hey, what's the weather? Or check my emails. So it's constantly synchronized, constantly shooting radiation. So I thought about that, about the duration of time and the proximity to the brain is what kind of got my mind going and got me nervous. And I remember learning that in other countries, the reason they banned Wi-Fi from nurseries and kindergartens is because our kids' skulls are much thinner than ours, and they absorb about 10 times the radiation as an adult skull.
That's frightening.
And that's how the whole thing started.
Wow. That's really amazing that you were able to have this observation, take pieces of information from earlier in your life and be able to kind of connect the puzzle pieces to solve a significant problem that we have amongst society, especially here in the United States. And in all reality, I don't see things changing. I think that we'll see a continuum of people working from home, children being more dependent on having to learn via electronics.
Yeah.
So what an exciting time to, really make a contribution in a good way to kind of mitigate these negative influences that we're having that are impacting our overall health. So I'm curious, when you decide to bring this product to market, did you have any challenges that you faced? Because I know there's a lot of controversy around 5G and really, being able to speak openly about the concerns around 5G. So talk to me, tell me what kind of challenges you might have faced.
Yeah, it's interesting because before I was able to prove it, I bought everything that they sell on Amazon. Everything. It's really, I have my whole desk is still filled with them. I bought like shungite stones and
I got my shungite right here.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. Oh my God, I got like gold coins. Yes. I got Japanese technology, some more fancy EMR stuff. And like, I bought everything. I bought gold, silver, copper, lead, and I tried everything, and nothing worked. It was actually worse than that.
Okay.
Some of the stuff increased the radiation.
Wow.
And it acted like an antenna.
Wow.
So it was really.
Were there any particular materials that you noticed had a bigger impact on how much radiation was being emitted?
Well, it's pretty scary because what happens is this: you have, look on your phone. On your phone you have a lot of antennas on your phone.
Right.
Right. You have a lot of antennas on your phone. So if you don't place it in the correct area, or it's the wrong material, it will act as an antenna.
Okay.
Wow. It's even scarier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And these people are not doing any studies. There's no government labs. There's no third-party testing. There's just nothing there. It's just a placebo.
Okay.
So I'm testing all these things and nothing's working. So then I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm getting interference from the neighbors' homes or interference from something in the home. So I shut the whole house down, no interference, built Faraday cages, and still nothing's working. So then I thought, well, what if I could create a material that could almost break up the radiation and disperse it this way? Just break it up like a grenade, basically.
Yeah.
How do I create a material that will just chop it up and break it up? So I started testing a bunch of different materials, combining materials, and eventually one worked. And I remember running downstairs and telling my wife, you have to come see this. It works. You have to come see this. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just getting lucky. Maybe it's not going to work tomorrow. And it kept working. So then I ran to a lab in San Diego, tested it there. And those engineers were just blown away because it showed in the 90 percentile of reduction.
Wow.
And they were blown away because these engineers said, we don't even let our kids rock the earbuds because that's scary. Because we know what they're made of and what those antennas do and how far those antennas could shoot. Some of those antennas could shoot 300 feet in a straight line.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So
what happens if I'm sitting at a Starbucks and, all the entrepreneurs around me are sitting there working on their laptops and have their AirPods in? Am I being influenced by that?
Well, I'm going to show you something, but it's kind of scary. You're going to kind of wish I never showed it to you, but I'm going to show you something right now.
I like to be scared. I like the truth.
Are you ready for this? There is an app. Anyone could download it. It's called NRF Connect. Okay. I'm going to turn on this little app and I'm going to show you what it does. I'm at my home office. This is Can you see that?
It's kind of blurred.
Uh-oh. Let me hit scan. Okay.
Okay, now I can see it. When you hold it sideways, we can see the screen. There you go.
Okay. That's all the radiation around my house.
Wow.
And those are bars showing you one by one by one by one. It shows, master bedroom. You have the Sonos speaker. Ben's iPad downstairs in the kitchen. And then you have, Ben's Apple Watch downstairs. Ben's speaker in the garage. And it goes on and on and on and on. And that's, let me see if I can.
Wow, I can see that. Yeah, we can see that. Holy cow. And that's just what's coming from your home from having electronics plugged in.
And I live in a property that's kind of far away from other neighbors.
Wow.
I'm not getting too much interference, but it's still like the sprinklers, little things like that. It's all,
the smart meters on the home that are regulating, our power usage, our gas usage, our water usage.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So me personally, I'm not concerned with the radiation that's a couple feet away from me. But when it's direct inside and it's touching my skin or touching my kids' skin, which is their skulls are much thinner, that's what really concerns me.
Right.
Because it's the duration of time and the proximity to the brain. And that's why when you look at your cell phone instructions, if you go to legal and go to RF exposure, it's going to tell you how far you should keep your phone from your head and when you talk, right?
Oh, wow. And
if you go back further and further and further, go back like 5 years, 6 years, the verbiage is even more straight to the point. But, so the goal was, okay, does it work? Let's take it to the lab. So we did the testing in the lab, about 5 hours with WaveBlock on, 5 hours with WaveBlock off, and we got an amazing results. Then I said, who is your competitor? Who is the biggest lab in the world? I want to go to like the mother of all labs, right? So went there, and that's Tufsa. They're the largest lab in the world. Did the testing there, got the same results. Then I asked them, hey, I want to go to an FCC government lab. Mm-hmm. Let's see how much radiation gets absorbed into the skull.
Okay.
And that's called a SAR test.
Okay. And
that's what you have to do when you launch a phone or any device with that emits radiation.
And are there any kind of, safety parameters around what is allowed? Like, yes. What did you discover?
So the FCC give certain countries different limits than we have, right?
So ours are more laxed.
Ours are not that nice.
Okay.
So the goal is you have to be underneath that red line, basically, right?
Right.
So, and the way they test it is they say, this is how much radiation is allowed to get absorbed into the human skull. And the test, that it's an FCC test, what they do is they have, it looks like a brain. It mimics your skull, mimics the liquid, looks like bone broth in there. And what they basically do is they shoot the radiation through the skull, and below you'll have the device. And they see for a couple hours how much gets absorbed per square inch into the skull, into the tissue.
Wow.
So I was able to do that test, and we got incredible results too. And then obviously that's how you're getting in patents and insurance and all that kind of stuff. So all these other products don't have any of that. So it's shocking to me how they're even in business, which is just fascinating because it's like taking advantage of people.
Right. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. So how do we differ from other countries in terms of what is allowed at those threshold, those EMF, frequency threshold? How do we differ?
Well, some countries have a lower standard, right?
A lower, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Not standard, but their red line is lower than ours.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I seem to see a common theme over and over when we are looking at regulatory processes that, here in the United States, we differ very much from other countries. Other countries tend to have a lot tighter safety parameters around what is allowed in their food and their water and their air, EMF type frequency devices, because ultimately these things definitely have negative health consequences. So with all of the research that you did, what were some of the alarming findings? You mentioned some of them for children, but was there anything specific for adults that you discovered? Hey guys, I'm going to interrupt this episode for a really brief message and to introduce you to today's amazing podcast sponsors, WaveBlock. If you know me, you know that I am all about reducing toxicity. And to be perfectly honest with you, this whole 5G thing has got me a little freaked out. Did you know that your phone and AirPods emit radiation? According to the CDC, your phone uses radio frequency radiation to transmit its signal. This cloud of radiation just sits outside your brain the entire time you're using your phone or on your AirPods. If you listen to podcasts, talk on your phone, do Zoom calls all day, that exposure really starts to add up. The frequencies from your phone actually pass through your brain, which is really scary and can cause negative effects like headaches, foggy brain, fatigue, and other issues. I love using my WaveBlock EMF protective stickers for my phone and AirPods to direct these harmful frequencies away from my body and my brain. WaveBlock's accredited lab-tested line of products helps significantly reduce the amount of radiation you are getting exposed to with their easy-to-apply EMF blocking stickers. They have protection for AirPods, AirPod Pros, and all of the recent iPhone models. These stickers don't interfere with anything, so you can still use your phone case or whatever it is that you like. They just offer all-day protection. Make sure you head to waveblock.com and take advantage of a 20% discount using the code Heather. I'll make sure to link it in the show notes for easy access. So make sure you head to waveblock.com to get your 20% off discount and use the code Heather.
I think that Well, yeah, this was really fascinating because I did not know this was going to happen. This was actually a complete trip. When we went back into the lab to test the eye protects, which look like this, what was really cool was we found out that it was blocking about 75% from the back and almost 50% from the front.
Wow.
And that was really, really cool to see because what happens was, and the SAR test is on our website. You can actually see all this. What happens is the radiation actually gets dissipated through the sides instead of bouncing right back into your face.
Okay. I'm really glad that you're bringing this up because after I got my shield for my phone, I was like, is this deflecting it towards me if I'm actually on the phone using the phone? I imagined my jaw like disintegrating with amplified EMFs coming into the whole side of my face. So I'm excited that you're explaining this. So you're saying 50% of the EMFs that are directed towards the skull are being reduced and 75% are being reduced from this. So it's so tell me more. Explain to me how this is working.
It's so tricky to explain, but I'm going to try to explain it the best. Imagine if you take a flashlight. Okay. You shine a flashlight at a mirror. What would happen?
It's going to reflect back.
You're right back at you, right?
Right.
Right back at you. That's not good. What if you take a flashlight and you shine it at a material that kind of mimics hologram, kind of looks like hologram? It has a bunch of lines, laser cut lines. It has different materials in it. It could have copper, it could have aluminum in there. What would happen if you shine a flashlight at something like that?
It's going to create it's going to cause like a diversion.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So all you're doing is you're spreading it out now.
Okay.
So it has nowhere else to go.
Interesting.
So you're not losing like cell phone reception. You're not losing performance. So are there specific, and you don't have to give like the details. I don't want you to give anything that you're not comfortable with disclosing, but are there heavy metals that are utilized as part of this protective barrier, or is it something like, what is this technology? It's I don't want to give away the secret sauce.
Yeah,
there is a metal. There's a metal, and there's a couple other components to it that make this the the secret sauce.
Okay. So was science your favorite subject in school, or is this something that you just discovered later in life as a necessity to protect your family?
Completely by accident. I don't know anything about science. I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, no background in any of this stuff. My background's only real estate. I did this just because of my 3 little boys, really.
Wow, that is amazing. I am so impressed. And for me personally, I have a lot of concerns around 5G and just EMFs in general. And with what we've seen happen over the last 2 years with the pandemic and them rolling out 5G, in my personal opinion, I think there's a correlation that is kind of being overlooked when it comes to these increased EMFs that we're getting exposed to. And I personally am trying to do everything I can to reduce the amount of toxicity that I'm exposed to on a daily basis, because I feel that it's overwhelming. You know, as we mentioned earlier, the US seems to have more relaxed policies around these toxins that are allowed in our food, allowed in our water, allowed in our electronics. And so when you start compiling little bits of exposure here and there, it starts to add up to a rather, large problem, which clearly is what you identified early on in the pandemic with recognizing how much your children were using these AirPods.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. And then you have the iPads and your phones, and then they want to sleep with their phones, and then they fall asleep with it on their stomach. And then you have mothers that are pregnant with the phone on their stomach,
Yeah. Wow.
Texting at night before going to bed. Like it's just scary.
It is. It's very scary. So you guys have the AirPod protectors. So can we talk a little bit about how those work? Because I was so scared putting on the stickers. I was like so nervous. I'm like, I do not want to screw this up. And then after I put them on, I was like, oh, this makes sense. I see how this is like, protecting and kind of pushing the EMFs away from my head. So can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, it's actually so simple. It just basically blocks, it's like a shield. It blocks the radiation from entering your skull. We can't block all of it because then they wouldn't work.
Okay.
We let a little bit go in, right? Because then it wouldn't work as well. But what it does is it disperses most of the radiation away from your skull.
Wow.
It's almost like, if you take this water, and let's pretend it's a light, and you wrap half of the light with a material that makes it reflect, the light's going to only go one way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do the same thing. Super simple.
So genius. I'm so impressed. And what a necessity. I mean, this is something, like I mentioned earlier, I see more and more people becoming more tethered to their electronics, more dependent on them. You're going to laugh. Yesterday, I could not find my AirPods. Like they just magically disappeared. I was frantic because I had calls, and let me grab. I had to pull out the dinosaur, the old Bose headphones to attach to my phone. And there I am. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is not practical for me. Like I felt, like I couldn't be as efficient as I needed to be. I become very dependent on those AirPods as a necessity for my everyday life, as most individuals have. So I just thought to myself, after I did find my AirPods, how grateful I am for the technology that you've created that can help give me a little peace of mind, knowing that I am taking those extra precautionary measures to try and protect my brain from unnecessary radiation.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I think these devices are not going away. And if we could help reduce some of the radiation, what do we have to lose,
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the product. So you have a line for AirPods, and then you also have a line for cell phones. These are they specific for certain models, or are they kind of universal?
Yeah, for the cell phones, they're specific for each model.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for the earbuds, we have 4 different models now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if anyone is interested in purchasing this technology, they have the ability to go to the website, find what specific model they have, and then they can order it that way. Is that correct?
Yeah. And in a couple of days, we're going to have some really cool new technology on the website. We'll actually identify what kind of phone you have, and it's going to tell you which model protection you need.
Interesting. So how does this technology identify which model you have?
Really simple. It's just an app that we added in, and it basically can figure out what your screen size is. And by figuring out your screen size, it figures out, all right, this is the WaveBlock protection that you need.
Interesting. Well, I know that you put a lot of thought into this, because when I received this for the cell phone and I noticed that you had the little circle cut out, I was like, oh, they really thought of everything, because a lot of people want to show off their Apple, right? So was that the motivation for having the optional circle?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Impressive. You really put a lot of thought into this. I'm definitely impressed. Well, I'm really excited to have an opportunity to partner up with you guys. And I know you guys have been so generous that you're giving all of the listeners an option to get 20% off if they go to your website and purchase a product. So we are so grateful for that opportunity. And where do you see this company going? What do you see for yourself?
I'm excited to work on like a baby line. I've been putting a lot of energy into that. So I have some new ideas that I've been working on. I'm just doing a lot of R&D right now, and hopefully everything works out.
That's exciting.
Really, really exciting.
Do you see yourself expanding to like laptops and the, iPads? Are those things that eventually you'll also create protective products for?
Yeah, we're doing R&D on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tricky because every device is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Every
device, every brand, every company is different. Some things WaveBlock will not work for. Some things the radiation is just too strong.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
It's so scary. And we're like, okay.
Do you mind disclosing what one of those potential products could potentially be?
No, because then one day they're going to say, what happened to the guy Ben? He's not here. What happened? He had a heart attack. Yeah, some things are just, the radiation is so aggressive.
It's really frightening. I myself live in a pretty condensed area in the city, and I know that I'm being impacted by all of these EMFs. So I have really put a lot of thought into how can I minimize, I just recently bought a Somavaic to try and minimize the EMF waves from the entire house. And it's really cool because I'm a data geek. I love data, and I have this amazing Aura ring that tracks my sleep cycle. And so after I started doing research and seeing because I was having insomnia, I was like, what is going on? Why can I not sleep? And so I started trying to problem solve and figure out, like, I don't have a TV in my room. I'm not getting exposure to the blue light. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, right next to my bed, I had my little tower charging station where I charged my, AirPods, my phone, all of these things. So I removed those from the room, still had some challenges. And then I realized, I think it's coming from all around me. I think it's just an overwhelm of so much technology in such a small area. And so anyway, I purchased this other device to help block the EMFs. It does 100 feet in all directions. And I've been able to track my sleep cycle using the data from the Aura ring to see that my REM and my deep sleep have improved significantly since having this device. So it's really cool to see the validation through the evidence of, these other kind of technology pieces that we can kind of all piece together. It's pretty cool.
That's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
it's like when you actually feel it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of skepticism out there. It's for me, what I have found is that it's very difficult to really get the information around the potential consequences of EMF waves. It's something that is being denied. It's very difficult. I sent emails out to so many scientists trying to get them to come onto the podcast to talk about the harmful effects of EMFs. And I got back quite a few responses saying, I'm sorry, I can't discuss this with you. Yeah. And that's frightening. That's very, very frightening. So I really appreciate you recognizing a problem out there and then getting really creative with the free time that you did have available to you and being able to develop this amazing product that's going to help benefit the well-being of so many, especially our younger generation. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like it's just like some people eat organic blueberries and some don't. And eventually your body's going to tell you if it was a good idea or not.
Right.
If you don't feel it now, you're taking a risk. What's going to happen in 20, 40 years from now? What do you have to lose by reducing some of the radiation? And
I couldn't agree with you more. In my opinion, I would rather be, overzealous when it comes to prevention to ensure longevity and vitality of my livelihood. That's what we're all working towards. That's what we're here to have, this human experience, is have that higher quality of life. So, for me, investing in my health is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. So where can everyone find you guys?
WaveBlock.com.
All right. So just as simple as that, WaveBlock.com. I'll make sure to link all of the necessary stuff in the show notes so it makes it easy for everyone to find you guys. And I just truly want to applaud you for the work that you're doing. I'm excited to see this company grow and additional protective products come out to help support everyone's well-being.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for joining us on the Think Yourself Healthy podcast. Make sure you leave a review and let me know what you think. I love reading your feedback. Come hang out with me on Instagram at Heather Duranja, and don't forget to take a screenshot that you're listening to the podcast and tag me. I love to share it. See you on the next episode.